Good. What's up, guys? Yeah, we have a special guest today, and this person is a lot of different things with me. It's my life partner, my love, my baby daddy, my roommate. We do everything pretty much together. So this person's really special. I'd like to introduce Mack Phillips. He's a coach. He's from the Rondo community. He wears many hats. And as many of you guys know, we have four boys together. So he's not just a father to our four boys, but also a father figure to many of the boys in the community who he coaches and just mentors, and is really just a positive role model that is looking out for our youth. And he has a podcast called They Call Me Daddy. Mack Phillips, can you tell us more about that? Welcome.
What's up, y'all? Thanks for having me on. She over here trying to make me blush, saying all these nice things I don't get to hear too often. But I'm sorry. What was your question? I was blown away by the introduction there.
Well, I wanted to invite you because you have a podcast, They Call Me Daddy. So tell us more about They Call Me Daddy.
Yeah, They Call Me Daddy, man. I want to first shout out Torian, Big Bro, and Mondo. We're family, so we start the podcast together. It was an idea that Torian had. And I just appreciated him bringing me to the table and allowing me to do it with them. So it is a parenting podcast. So it's based around, three dads who have just different life experiences. And we used to, hang out a lot more when we were younger. But, now we have our own families and we have our own jobs and own ventures. Like, we don't get to hang out and kick it as much. So on the podcast, we talk about parenting as well as just, life in general. It was a space to where men could come be vulnerable, be honest, laugh. I mean, we even cried together. So I think it was just a great platform for all men all over just to come be vulnerable, listen to men who I'm sure have the same problems and just the same ups and downs as you. So, yeah, so They Call Me Daddy. I'm sorry. It was a dope podcast, and hopefully we get back to it soon, man. I'm waiting on Torian and Mondo, man. Come on, fellas, let's do it.
Yeah, I know you guys have about 10 episodes out right now. Can you give just a little context of what each of your guys' parenting styles are?
Ooh, parenting style. So I have the biggest family. I have four boys. So my style is usually, a little more, I say tougher because I have males. Those two have daughters. And Mondo's daughter is 16 in high school. So his experiences have changed throughout the time. And Torian has a younger daughter. So he's the softest of the bunch. Like he's cupcake. His daughter runs over him. But, he also is a great dad and, gives a lot of love to her, and Mondo the same way. He takes more of the, I have an older daughter, so more of a friend approach. That's how I take it. And me, man, I'm just, playful, always, messing with the boys. We're really big in sports, so we bond and have a lot of time together through that. So, a lot of different parenting styles, which makes a podcast, I think unique in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, so each of you guys have different family dynamics. Like you have four boys, you live with all your boys, and also with their mom. Can you tell just the dynamics of the other parentings? Like, how is your guys' platform giving different perspectives of different households that other people can relate to?
I think Mondo is the one who does not live or have a significant other at the moment. So he gave his perspective, man. I mean, a lot of the questions, like I would prefer everybody just to go check it out. We're on all podcast platforms. We're on YouTube. Because, I mean, it's my family lifestyle is more of like a chaos. Like we're always on the go. I mean, you're in the house with me. Like,
Yeah, I just wanted our listeners to know and understand that there's different multiple perspectives. Like we
yeah,
have
for sure.
co-parenting, single parenting. So yeah, check it out. They Call Me Daddy platform. Can you tell the audience where they can find and listen to your episodes?
Yeah, we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, on YouTube, wherever you can listen to a podcast. We're on there. They Call Me Daddy. Please, up a parenting podcast, man. I recommend you check it out, especially for males of all ages, anyone with younger kids, older kids. I mean, like I said, we're real vulnerable. We talk about, a wide range of things, anxiety, frustrations, jobs, family, just everything. So yeah, check it out.
I also call him daddy sometimes, but
Hey, hey, hey! I hope Torian hears that.
um, so we want to get back to, going back to Rondo. That's my theme this year. So how has growing up in Rondo impacted you as a parent and you as a coach? Like what influences or just people in the community that have inspired or just made an impact in your life for your coaching and parenting style?
Man, it's all based around love. Like, I grew up with two neighbors and, friends down the street. I went to Maxfield Elementary, it started there. And a lot of my friends, uh, after school, were you see them in the neighborhood. So when you go to school, it's not really like a classroom. I'm just kicking it with my friends from the community. Uh, and like I said, it's all based around love. And it gave me a perspective as I grew to want to just show love to people who may not have it inside their own households. Because I grew around, I didn't have my dad growing up. I grew up with my mom and my grandma, but then I also had friends who didn't have a dad or didn't have a mom or just didn't have, the foundation that we're supposed to have growing up. So it just made me want to pour love as a male into other young males because I've seen the gang banging, I've seen the fights in the middle of the street, and most of it stems from just not having a home, like a happy home or a good foundation. Us as males, sometimes we're overly emotional, and it starts at home. So that's what made me want to pour into the young boys now as an adult.
Yeah,
Hey, I
so
feel like I'm blabbering, man. Y'all gotta cut in and interrupt, like
oh no, this is your time.
Spoil it.
Yes, it's your it's your time to shine. Um that's what we do. We like to invite people into this space to shine light on your story, your journey, so people can get to know you. And one thing, a lot of people, they don't know you. Like, they know who you are or seen you around, but they don't really know your personal story. And you do have a interesting, just really good story that I want people to really know. And you talk about you having four boys, and you did grow up without your father, but you did have a lot of father figures. Can you talk about that? Who were the father figures in your life?
It was my uncles for sure. The Davison brothers, man. I love them to death, as well as my uncle Michael. Those guys, and I had a lot of older cousins. Our family was always in the same space. Like we all lived down the street or around the corner from one another. And then also like talking about Rondo, I couldn't have this conversation without bringing up Ricky, my big cousin, who to keep it clean, like he was out here when I was growing up. So him and his friends, they were in the gang, which has a bad stigma. But sometimes, like I seen the love part of it because they were always at my place and at my home, so I grew up around that as well. But it's just brotherhood and loving one another. So my influence was my uncles for sure, who always kept me in line whenever I got out of pocket. Not having my dad around, my mom. You know, I didn't always listen to her, and my uncles always stepped in when I did a little too much. So shout out to the Davison brothers and all my older cousins, and yeah, some of the friends from the neighborhood as well.
I just want to give a shout out to your uncles because you've got some heavy hitters in your family.
Yes, sir.
He mentioned his uncle Michael, who is Michael Wright, the Selby Jazz Fest founder and owner of Golden Time. And his other uncle, Uncle Gilbert, was the Prince's bodyguard. So he was just around a lot of influential men that made impacts in
And
the
not
community.
just Prince's bodyguard, but he's a boss on his own.
Oh,
He
yeah.
managed his artists and he did his thing as well.
Yeah, wasn't he the owner of the Quest nightclub?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so can you give a little context of what that was like growing up and having access to, that?
Man, great times. Like I was younger, but like my older cousins Torian and Mondo, like I know that they like were old enough after high school to have graduation parties and hang out there. I remember when we were younger, we used to go like have Thanksgiving, and man, my fondest memory is Kanye West when Kanye first got big. Like my uncle invited us all to come see Kanye at the concert, and I was probably like I don't know 12 or something. They're like, man, what this little dude doing in the club? But you know that was my biggest memory. Like just having access to something like that and just having a different experience.
Kanye West. So
Yeah,
you was always around greatness.
yeah. No joke. I remember the thing I remember the most is he smelled like straight hair gel, like gel. So when people be like, "Yo, Kanye tripping with the red caps and all that," I'm like, "Yeah, but he really one of us." Like I remember, and John Legend was there as well. So pretty dope.
Nice. Well, we're going to take a quick break real quick and we're going to go listen to I just want to or we're in Rondo, so we're going to go back to Rondo. That's what we're about to do.
Him too. So I'm the red one.
Oh, it's all me.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, it's fine. I was just making sure it's still yeah.
Yeah, but let's let these lovers do their thing. I'm enjoying myself over here. So what's next, y'all?
Oh, I want to talk about this new collaboration that we're doing. Right now he's wearing a Broken Robot shirt. So Broken Robots, yeah, elaborate on that. What is Broken Robots? I know we've been planting seeds for a while, but yeah.
Comic will be here soon. I'm excited about that. So I remember when Mac first got on iPads. Would you say he was like 4 or 5, somewhere around there?
I
So
don't know, it might have been 3.
yeah, so it was like 2014, 2015, somewhere around that time. I remember him starting to watch YouTube and watch other kids play with toys and play games, which was real odd to me, right? But then I noticed him starting to play with toys the same way that the kids did on YouTube. So it just came to me like, wow, like it's crazy how someone can just take over your own imagination, especially at that young age. So that was pretty alarming to me, and I wasn't feeling it. And then me, like you hear me at home, like, hey man, you got to be your own person. Don't copy and do what other people do, right? Even taking it back further than that, it's like Simon Says, right? We had this discussion, Mercedes, like playing the game Simon Says is kind of weird, and I prefer the kids to be like, hold on, wait, who is Simon? Like, why are we playing it? Why are we listening to Simon? And a lot of times in our community, the kids who have those questions and question authority like that are considered defiant, or they're the ones who, don't listen, get out the classroom, go with whatever TA or, whatever help we have in the building. And to me, being around those kids with the football program and all that, those kids I find are very special. And so that's where Broken Robots came from. I have players on my teams who are like really smart, really intelligent, really great kids. And then when I hear that they're getting in trouble in school, it just doesn't register to me. Then, I think back on Morrow, our kid, he's one of those rougher kids who questions everything. And I don't ever want him to lose that. Like, I want him to be his own man, be his own leader. And, you can only become those things asking questions and not always following, what someone else tells you to do. So Broken Robots to me is our disruptors, our leaders, and people who are not afraid to question and, you know, push authority a little bit. Not always to the point to where, it's like people think of that and they're like, oh, they're going to get in trouble and do crime. But it's like, no, like push other people to use or to get better ideas for the people who can't really uh, do for themselves.
Advocate for themselves. Yeah.
Advocate for themselves. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
That was a long answer. I'm sorry, but
No, it was a great answer. And I know I've been out here just really promoting Broken Robots, but I wanted to just give some context of where it originally started from, which came from you and just conversations at home. And as many people know, I've worked in education for the past 10 years as a behavior intervention specialist, but also a TA specializing in special ed and behavior. So I would come home with stories all the time. So when he's telling me about this Broken Robot story and idea, I'm like, these are my students. Like, they're broken robots. And I would see them for having gifts and talents and superpowers. And I was like, and then later I released a comic and just seeing like how impactful and powerful it was to storytell through imagery, but also comics, where I'm like, we have to do this together in collaboration. And then he's in the sports world, so we're kind of showcasing broken robots through, he does through sports, through videos, and just really shining light on the elite athletes, because right now we're in a time, especially in inner city sports, where our athletes are not being recognized or having light shine on them because they're limited to resources or money. And we're just trying to fill in that void of like, no, we have talent here, and hopefully encourage our athletes to stay here in the inner cities.
Mm-hmm.
But right now we're being broken robots by trying to disrupt these systems that are trying to keep our kids limited to resources. So a lot of change making is happening, and support us.
Yeah, not only that, is we want to inspire our athletes to know their influence. Like, us being here in little old Minnesota, we think that our world is so small, but a lot of these kids shine bright, you know what I mean? And I want to show that to the world. It is just silly, right? Because I remember being in classrooms and, God blessed us all with different lenses and different thoughts and different perspectives. So, you give a multiple choice question and it's like, what color do you see on the flag? And, if a kid says, oh, blue, white, and red, they're like, no, in America we say red, white, and blue. Like, it's just overall, it's just silly, right? So it's just giving kids, like, you're not always wrong. They just have a different perspective. So I think that that's very important. And I want our kids to, like, not be shut down when, like, Matthew's football game this weekend, the kid just kept breaking down, crying. And it's like, no, you just have to get up and keep trying. Like, don't, like, some kids handle knowing that you're wrong. They handle it tougher than others. So you have to meet a kid where they're at. You know what I mean? And because those kids are special as well.
So I want to go back and let's have They Call Me Daddy podcast right now. We're all parents right here. So what are some...
I ain't got my fellas backing me up right now, but...
Well, yeah, now we got some ladies on here.
Yeah, I'm in the hot seat now.
So what are some differences? I would like you to start this off, MK, with just parenting. So as Mac had just mentioned, it seems like we're seeing a generation of more emotional kids. Would you guys agree? Or
I think so. I think that's one of the effects of social media, right? It's like the comparison thing. Or we see a kid with all these toys on social media and I only have 2 of them. That's going to make me feel like I'm going to be angered, or, certain things like that.
Yeah, I like that you brought up social media. And that's also something that the comic, Broken Robots comic, is addressing. And it's really to inspire this generation to have control of their mind and not be controlled by technology. Because I'm seeing a spiritual warfare where our youth are in danger, but not just our youth, but us as whole as humans, because our minds are the most powerful thing in our body. And if we're not using it, you kind of lose it. And right now, technology is doing everything for us. It's getting to the point where cars are driving themselves. So we're not even using our mind to drive, remember directions. And that is weakening our whole system, which is, I believe, opening why there's, as a result, it's anxiety, depression, mental illness, like causing a more emotional, just sad feeling inside of us.
Not to even mention, the toughest one is suicide. Like, suicide is up, and it's very sad, I think. And I think it's something that it's up to us to fix. And that's kind of why when you push the social media thing with the kids when we're in the schools, like, I like to say, use social media, don't let it use you, or don't let it, burn you out, because it's it should only be a tool that we use for certain things. It shouldn't determine how we feel on a daily basis, or, change our world view at all.
Yeah, like, oh, they didn't like my picture, or,
right.
Yeah, I'm just seeing a generation where you need validation through likes or shares, and how many friends you have, how many followers.
Our son Morrow, he does that now. Like, Dad, I'm trying to get the 200 likes. It's like, when you get 200 likes, then what? It's like, it's not as important as we make it. It's not in the, like, it's not a real place. So it really shouldn't matter, because you need a break, just go outside and you'll be smiling and just as happy.
And that's what we're trying to do this summer. We're trying to inspire this generation to be a broken robot. So this summer long, all summer long, we're doing events. Each event is very intentional to get your kids, but not even only the kids, but you yourself to get involved, get active, have fun, be in the moment, be in community, and just feel each other's spirits, because robots, they do not have a mind or conscience. And I feel like a broken robot is someone that does have their soul, their mind, their conscience, and feeling, while robots, they can't feel anything. They have no empathetic feeling. And that's why we're seeing people not really care about this genocide that's happening. I am happy that more awareness is being brought up, but for a while, it's taken a long time for it to even get to this point, which to me is alarming. And I feel like because this generation is just very used to seeing traumatic things happen online, where it's, you're kind of, your soul is becoming numb to it. Like, it's, that's a way of life. Like, oh, something's happening, let me record, rather than go help. So we're losing that connection, and I don't want this generation growing up not having that consciousness or soul or just empathetic feeling for others.
Yeah. So when I
welcome, MK.
Yeah, hello everyone. Bowden, my youngest.
Mm-hmm.
How old is he?
3.
Okay.
No, 4. My bad.
4. Hey, I've been there.
I say to him, "Hey, we got a nap. Hey, we got to sleep so we can charge up. We can recharge. I'm not a robot."
Mm-hmm.
And Bolden always teaches me about pausing. Actually, both of them, Bolden and Sophie, my 2 kids, they both teach me. I'm very metaphorical. I love my metaphors. Metaphors be with you.
Mm-hmm.
I love poetry. I love playing with language a lot. And Bolden does, Sophie's very literal. And also, I'm ADHD, which means that most likely my kids have those traits.
Mm-hmm.
And that I also inherited from other people, which, as I'm owning my ADHD, as I am remembering my way forward, right? Because that's what a lot of parenting is,
mm-hmm.
is remembering your way forward.
Mm.
It is being triggered
mm-hmm.
by the many things that may come up with you, that your kids will reveal to you,
Mm-hmm.
that teaches you, educates you, illuminates something that you might have been taught to suppress.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And that's been my journey as a parent, is let my kids teach me,
Mm-hmm.
and mutating into the human that I need to be,
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that life keeps reproducing life, because life is so much at threat right now.
Yes.
The circle is broken.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the 7 fire prophecies from Anishinaabe people, like, they lay it out.
Mm-hmm.
6 prophecies have already come true. The 7th one has not come true yet, because it's still unfolding. We are inside of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that might require its own show, conversation, and also welcoming, guests who come from these histories and these traditions to be able to really honor that conversation.
Yes.
But it is really easy to be a broken robot in the society. That's why we actually see a lot of broken robots in
Mm-hmm.
the society.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, maybe we see a lot of people we see a lot of life, right? We see cyborgs, maybe. Maybe we are all cyborgs. We are partially human, and we are partially machine now,
Mm-hmm.
as we understand that we have plastic inside of us, and then we have metals inside of us by way of water contamination and soil contamination. And that it's why I say it's really easy to be a broken, or it's very difficult to live a life, dedicated to being a broken robot. Let's just say that, because you are punished all the time, right? Or you are always constantly being disciplined to, return to that robotic state, that atomic, the whatever.
Like trained.
Yeah. Exactly. So shout out to Metric, Elder Metric from the RONDO
Shout out to y'all.
neighborhood. Metric always says training is for horses.
Seriously.
We don't train people.
Seriously.
Training are for horses. So shout out to one of the OGs
straight up
in this area.
straight up.
But you learn, So I would say that when I say it's difficult, right? Because just going back to something that somebody was sharing earlier about young people who ask lots of questions right now, right? Young people who are curious, who care enough about a thing, right? To ask a lot of questions, to get the clarity, so that they can commit themselves to what adults are asking them to consistently move into.
Exactly.
So one of those things is, during the pandemic, I got to be a part of Sophie's education, and I was also serving as a social studies standards committee review member for the state. I noticed that just being in that space at that moment, I noticed that inside of a kindergarten kid's education, when they're learning economics, social studies, geography, and history, in their economics lesson, one, they said they taught us, they taught me and Stokely and then the students that water is a resource. And trees are resources, which they are. We are all resource, right? However, it's a different the language piece. Like, it's very different when you, for you to be able to see water as a resource to which you can privatize and commodify, which that's where the lesson wired our kids, us into, because they started showing the industries. So after wood, after water, it's then trees, paper, right? Water, bottle. Yeah. To which we bottled up. And what if we were to imagine, what if we were to ask the question and be more curious about whose land we're on, and the philosophies and ideologies and the teachings, right, of the people who are on this land, how they relate to this land. And what if water is a resource, but water is a relative? And when a water is a relative, a being, something that is, a being that is sentient, a being that is life, right? Then how do we treat and how do we relate?
I love
like that water book you read.
Yeah, I read. Shout out to that book. I forget the name of it. It was
Water Protectors.
It was a book by this Japanese man about water. I don't know, but it was just talking about how water's living. And I also read an article in the Woman's Press. A Native woman. She was on a mission to. She believed, or she knows. I'm not gonna say. Well, I will say believe, but I believe too that water is living, and you can heal it by walking with it, spending time with it, singing to it, nurturing it. So that's what they were doing. And in the Women's Press article, it was shining light on that. And that's what actually interests me into learning more about water. And I found that book, and I loved it. And
she had us speaking to our water before we drunk it at home.
That's right. Water's got water bears. They got microbes. They got tardigrades. Right? Singing to the tardigrades. These little cute little water grades.
My household is not. I love Wiz Khalifa more. So the beginning was Khalifa, orange juice and
orange juice.
Yeah, Wiz Khalifa that I like to share.
Oh, please share.
Oh, okay, but we ain't drinking liquid death because words have power, and for that to be named liquid death does not seem like it's going to nurture or bring life into us. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I love what both of y'all are doing. You all are. I was writing a little diagram right here as like Mack was talking, but this is from something I learned that I wanted. Should I talk about it?
I want to hear your Wiz Khalifa story.
Yeah, you gotta go to Wiz first.
No, I mean, there's no Wiz Khalifa story. Wiz Khalifa, I don't know you. I've never met you, but I do appreciate that you made a song, a collaboration with this guy named Soy Viet, who's a cow farmer in Vietnam, lives in Vietnam, but does YouTube. And I think he learns. This is what I've put together, but I think he learns English through singing. Which is the most effective forms of learning a language, right? But he'll just count and he'll do it with songs.
That 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, exactly. 41, 42. Mixed that. Yeah. Mine was 43, 44.
I like when y'all do that. He be like 5.
Yeah.
She be at home bopping.
Hey, I like him too.
Yeah.
I had a student who he was autistic and he wouldn't really speak, but he sang and he sounded just like him. Every morning I'd be like, sing me a song.
I love it.
Man, there's stars all over the world, right? Like, just gotta appreciate it. And if there's no TikTok, then we don't know of this great human who's bringing joy to other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we would have known.
Think so?
The mycelial network, because we have mushrooms, we have fungi, we have the network of filaments, right, that acts as nature's internet. So even if we did not see that iteration, that formation, that dimension, right, of a life, right, we would feel it in other ways, and we would experience it in other ways,
that's
right?
Dope.
So that's how I'm seeing it. Going back to what you were sharing about in conversation earlier about the kids, how they're more sensitive and how they're so. Mercedes and I talk a lot about young people, right? And the kind of people we want to mutate into to be better listeners, right? And servants to young people. And we talk a lot about neurodivergence, autistic kids, ADHD, so young people, or just people who think differently, whose brains are wired differently. And I was actually talking with your family members who Mercedes, who I love, who I'm close to, who's geographically near me, but with more permissions, maybe we'll review their identity. But
Auntie Corky, I don't know what
What's up, Auntie?
No, but we were talking about autism, right? And we were talking about how there's a lot of underdiagnosis, right, of autism, ADHD, and other things in our communities. 1, surveillance. 1, 2, fascism. 3, racism, and 4. Many different factors, but as we're adults now, remembering our childhood and really going back to the root and following the trails, the strands, right, the bridges that are in us, and how, we concluded that maybe the young people, our autistic kids, are young people who, man, with their unruly bodies, right, and their unabashed, unapologetic truth-telling, that maybe they're here to cleanse the energy of this earth, and maybe that's what autistic kids are. Maybe that's the us being able to course correct the way we see neurodivergence, so that we see young people who are wired different, or people who are wired different ask a lot of questions, can't help but have to say the critique. You know what I mean?
Yep, I firmly agree with you, and I mean, I ain't trying to go too deep with the conversation, but that's why I have a problem with all this medical and prescriptions and all that, because I feel like you're trying to suppress the gifts that God has gave these special children. And, that's, like you said, that's a different conversation for another day, I guess.
Yeah, so we're going to take a quick break real quick. This is a 1 in a million conversation, and I didn't really do my playlist, so I'm going to just play with what's here right now. So this is 1 in a Million, remix by Naive and Jordan Hawkins, remaking Aaliyah's 1 in a Million. Shout out. I love this song. All right. So next we'll do our show some love segments and stuff. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Oh, I'm just here, man. I'm just with y'all. I can get in where I fit in. You want me to hold it? If y'all gonna do a segment, I can get you to.
What? Hold on.
We just have it sit on whoever. She
I'm
like today.
No, I'm just like, this could be the commercial break. I'll lay down. I can set it up. Oh, this is a great shot, though.
In between the breaks, look at this sexy frog.
Look at this sexy
I
frog.
know he's laying it all out like.
Yeah,
sexy, flirty, bashful frog right here. Oh, look at me.
Come get this.
Come get this. Oh, my goodness. Here.
So I'd like to apologize. I forgot to push record the first 10 minutes. But I have it recorded on here, so I'll have to take some of the audio and then merge it so we can. Yeah.
This is your second time, Miss.
I mess up every week.
We're going to look at review your work over here.
Philip, we need you.
Hey, what are you doing at 1 after this?
I don't know. I'm supposed to go back to my training.
What training is it?
Well, shout out to the black.
What am I doing?
The black change. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Black Lead Changes Genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, my girl got this in there.
I was mad I had to leave. Marcus Pope from Youth Prize, he was speaking, and Makar from
Trainer
from Sahan Journal.
Oh no, not.
Yeah. Good conversations. Lots of knowledge. Those rooms, like, people underestimate what panel discussions. You just learn a lot.
Yeah.
From a conversation.
So you're gonna go back there? I'm gonna go to Guthrie.
We got 10 seconds.
What time is that over? 10 seconds.
Hello, what's up, what's up, what's up? We are back here with the Mercedes and MK show. I'm Mizz Mercedes, aka your kid's favorite teacher. And we have a special guest, Mack Phillips, in the house who's joined us. And now we want to show some love and know what's going on in the hood. So we want to start off with what's in the hood.
What's been going on with you, Mercedes?
I want to give a shout out to my RONDO Double Dutch team. So last year, I just heard, I had these messages come to me like, there's different signs. Now, Mack's uncle had released a Double Dutch book, and there's just conversation revolving Double Dutch, and it was just on my heart and mind, like, do a Double Dutch event. And then I was in a space with opportunity and funding to do events at Central Village Park. So I was like, all right, I want to bring back just this old school vibe of just fun. And it turned out to be bigger than what I anticipated. And people from the community just kept coming to me like, when's the next one? When's the next one? So then I became like in charge of orchestrating the next thing, the next Double Dutch thing. And it just kind of took off and became bigger than what I anticipated. And I ended up having a team now. So we have a whole summer schedule. We were just at Springboard for the Arts Spring Pop event last Saturday on May 4th. It was so much fun. So shout out to Miss J. She's your kid's favorite teacher for sure. She teaches anybody how to jump under 5 minutes. I even jump. So I'm not a frog no more. I know how to jump.
Nice.
My skills aren't the best, but they will be. I'm sharpening them.
Yeah, she doing all that talking. I'm recording you next time.
I'd also, what's going on in the hood, I want to give a shout out to Cinco de Mayo on the West Side
shout out to the West Side.
I know the last couple years they were just under transitioning and reviving like their big celebration that they always had, and I'm happy to say I was there with the Victoria Theater Arts Center, and we were also partnered with Broken Robots making a community mural, which was really fun and cool. But it was like the beginning started off with rain, so